Hello, everyone. Hello. This is Joe from Joe's Hot Takes 25. Had to grab my microphone there. Representing a little bit this morning with In-Depth Scuba. That's my buddy Justin and I have a scuba business. So if you want to learn scuba, give us a call. In-Depth Scuba. And while I'm on the subject, before we get started here, because this is season 1, episode 22. Before I get started, I want to tell you about my book. I brought it up last time too, but I have this book that I wrote. It's called The Cop in Me, which is a story about me growing up and coming out of a pretty rough childhood, pretty volatile father, a lot of problems. My mom was pretty out of the picture as far as when it came to taking care of me or being there to protect me. And so, yeah, it was rough. It was a little rough, but hey, we made it. Here we are doing podcasts. But grab the book. It's available on Amazon, The Cop in Me. It comes in soft cover, hardcover, or you can do the ebook. This is the hardcover. It's pretty cool. There's the back. So I'm really proud that I was able to get that out there and get it published. And also, I guess while I'm on the subject, Joe's Hot Takes 25, I took the first 21 episodes that we've done, converted them into book style. So I basically took the scripts that I used to follow for each of these podcasts and converted them into a book form. And so that book, hopefully in the next, real soon, maybe in a month or sooner, we'll have that book out and available. And that book is called Mic Drop. 21 takes to get you thinking. So it's called Mic Drop, 21 takes to get you thinking. It's gonna be a fun book. It's got all of them covered. So if you've missed the podcast, you can grab the book. Okay, all right, I digress. Let's get on topic. Topic today. Season 1, episode 22 is raising children. Fun, right? Raising kids. Again, this is the podcast where I ask questions. I do some research. I dig into things, find out what's out there, try to present to you some facts. I try to leave my opinions out. We all know that hot takes are strong opinions, but I'm trying to redefine that a little bit. And a hot take doesn't have to be a strong opinion, and it can be something that creates the strong opinion. So I'm going to provide you with some information and talk a little bit about these topics, and then you decide. If you feel passionate about it, then make it a hot take. All right. So let's dive head first. I said dive because I've got my in-depth scuba hat on. Okay. So I said let's dive into head first into something. It hits close to home. For me, and for probably a lot of you, it's called parenthood. So now this is something that I definitely have skin in the game, right? I have 2 children, and now I have 2 grandchildren. So yeah, I got some skin in this game. I've been around the block with it. I became a parent really young. Just at 19 years old when my son was born. So I was very young, and it was kind of a kid raising a kid. It was really tough, but we made it. And I'll tell you, we made it, and it was 1981 when these things started happening. My son was born in 1982. And things were different in 1982 than they are today for kids. And so anyway, let's jump into this and see what we got. I think I did a good job. I have 2 awesome kids. They're adults now, so they're not kids anymore, but they're my kids. But they are adults. So, but here's what's kind of been eating at me lately. What the heck is happening to parenting? Like, what's going on? I look around today, I see kids glued to their screens, right? Everybody's walking around like this. You can't even see their face anymore, right? Because they're looking down at their screens. And parents hovering like helicopters. What is this? Everyone seems to have, all the kids now have just some sort of a label or a diagnosis attached to them. I don't understand that. Are we raising a generation of soft, dependent children who can't handle the real world? Or am I just too old school and maybe I need to catch up to the times? I don't know. Hey, I'll tell you what, let's do this. I was going to say buckle up, but hey, put your dive gear on. Let's jump in. We're going to tackle some uncomfortable questions today, like what makes a good parent, right? And I know I'm going to touch some soft spots with people, but I mean, what makes a good parent? Is hovering over your kids the thing to do, or do you give them room to breathe? I don't know. The hovering or the give them room. I gave my children a lot of room. They were able to breathe a lot. So should children be, staring at screens for hours on end? That's another question. And what's with these allergies and acronyms that seem to follow kids around like shadows these days? Like, I don't know. Let's get into it. Let's just get into it. Let's start with we'll start with section 1 of our episode or phase 1 of our podcast today, right? The screen time epidemic. That's what I want to call it. So let's talk about that elephant in the room, right? It's this thing right here. I have one right here. Yeah. So walk into a restaurant, a waiting room, go on to playgrounds. What do you see? You see kids and parents with their faces buried in tablets and phones. The parents, I mean, come on. Put your phones down. Talk to your kids. And growing up, you sit at the dinner table and you talk to your parents. Kind of talked about what was going on that day. What did you learn at school? Whatever the topic was, but you talked. You didn't just sit and look at a phone. And it's sad that we still do this. Okay, now look. I'm not an anti-technology guy. I'm not against it. I get it. The screens can be educational. They can keep kids occupied. I know our grandchildren read, do numbers, do math, far ahead of where probably I was when I was a kid. So, I know that there's a lot of benefit to it, but I mean, come on. Let's be real about it. Are we spending too much time with it? And I get it, parents. I get it. I've been a parent. I wish I probably had a screen back in those days to give to my kids and go, here, just go look at this for the next 6 hours and leave me alone. But hey, here's the problem I got with it. Nowadays, you see toddlers who can navigate on an iPad, right, or a tablet. They're up there navigating, playing games, and doing stuff. They don't even know how to tie their shoes yet. They don't even know how to tie their shoes, but they're navigating on a device. And let's face it, if they get access to the internet, they have access to anything they want. Anything at any age. That's really scary, right? That's super scary. So I'm just wondering if, maybe we've gone too far. I did a little digging. What I found? Not pretty, guys. The research shows that excessive screen time is linked to a whole laundry list of problems. We're talking physical health issues like obesity. That makes sense, right? It's hard to gain weight and get out of shape when you're running around outside instead of sitting on the sofa. So there's also sleep problems associated with this, especially when kids are staring at their screens right before bedtime. Apparently all that blue light really messes with your brain's ability to wind down for the night and get some rest. So that's a couple of the problems. But here's another one. What about the mental health issues? I mean, what's really got my attention here is that studies are linking excessive screen time to increased anxiety and depression in kids. Kids, you shouldn't have depression and anxiety. I have depression and anxiety because I have bills to pay. I have to worry about things, right? But you're kids. You don't have to worry about things. You should be out there having fun. Okay, and learning, for crying out loud. Learning, and we're gonna get into that a little more too, but think about that for a second. We're talking about children here. And there's evidence suggesting it might be making them more aggressive. You've seen this with a lot of these games. Less able to focus. And here's the kicker, less able to soothe themselves when things go wrong. You know, we used to call that learning to deal with things. That's what we called it when I was a kid. You learned how to deal with things. But today, kids are not as capable of just taking the care of themselves, standing up, dusting themselves off, and moving on. So anyway, socially, forget about it. You know, when kids are interacting more with the screens than with actual human beings, they're missing out. They're missing out on learning how to read facial expressions, how to have a real conversation, how to deal with conflict face to face. These aren't just nice to have skills, they're essential for functioning as an adult. I can't even imagine, like, you want to have a conversation with your boss, but you don't have the skill set to read the room. You are unaware of what is happening. So your boss is trying to talk to you about something. You're unaware because you can't read the room. You don't have any skills there. You're scared to talk to your boss. You probably don't even want to look up because you're so used to looking down. And how do you handle this? I don't know. Now I'm starting to rant, and I don't want to do that. But really, let's break some screen time and get our kids face to face. I got a question for you, folks. How about this? How many of you memorized phone numbers or addresses anymore, right? What's your wife's phone number? Your son or daughter's phone number? Your husband's phone number? Your cousin's phone number? Your friend's phone number? Do you know? I mean, I'm guilty. I'm guilty right here. I don't know a lot of, I don't know my kids' phone numbers. I honestly don't. My brain has been turned off. It doesn't need to know their phone numbers. What my brain needs to know is how to pick up my device and find their name and then press send on it. That's what my mind needs to know how to do. It doesn't need to remember the numbers. And that's kind of scary, right? That's kind of scary because the more we put here in our brains, the more we expand, the more we learn, the better we become at getting and gaining and keeping new information. But if we're not using it, we're just shutting it off. And that's sad. And there are studies out there. I'm going to tell you, there are studies. And here's the thing. Scientists do have a name for it. It's called digital amnesia or the Google effect. Those are two terms that came up when I was researching this. When you know that you can look up something instantly, right? Your brain stops bothering to remember it. It's like I just said about the phone numbers. I don't need to remember the phone numbers. I just need to remember how to get to the phone numbers. Now, I'm not saying we should throw away tablets. Don't throw them in the trash. Don't go back to the Stone Age. We don't need to go back to pencil and paper for everything. But maybe, just maybe, we need to find some balance. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we just need to find some balance. Hey, I just want to bring it up. I want to present it. I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it, make your own decisions. So let's move into the next section, which is what we're going to call helicopter parents and cotton wool kids. Cotton wool kids. So that's my next point. That helicopter parenting, and you know what I'm talking about, and some of you may even be some of those helicopter parents. And those are parents who hover over their kids like Secret Service agents, ready to swoop in at the first sign of trouble, right? They're going to take care of everything. Oh, I'm not going to let my child get hurt. I'm not going to let them fall off of a swing. I'm not going to let them, pick up a piece of candy off of the ground to eat it that they just dropped. I'm not going to do that. That's dangerous. I mean, I get it. I do. But, we want to protect our children, but it's hardwired into us as parents to protect our children, right? That's what we're doing. But are we protecting our children or are we suffocating our children? Remember when I talked about giving them room to breathe? Are we doing that or are we just like on them for everything? I don't know. Here's the thing. I grew up in an era where, be home when the street lights come on. Street lights come on, better have your booty home. It starts to get dark, start pedaling your bicycle home. And that's right, we rode bicycles. Yep. We rode bikes with no helmets. We didn't wear pads and helmets and all of this stuff. Some of our bikes were put together by parts that we, worked off of other bikes with our friends, right? You build a bike and then you realize, oh man, I got this cool looking bike, but I don't even have brakes. Or we used to take two bikes. If you had one that was broke, we'd take the forks off of one bike, shove them into the forks of the other bike, and now you had a chopper, right? You could build a chopper. It was double forks. Really dangerous because those forks would break, and then when the forks hit the ground, like the front of the bike stops immediately. It just stops. And then you continue to move forward, right? This is just a little class in, basic science here. So when the bike stopped moving forward, you keep going forward. So you went over the handlebars. You get up, you'd have some cuts and some bruises, maybe a little blood. It's all right. You wiped it off. You laughed because it was funny. Your friends thought it was funny. Everybody thought it was funny. Then you had to pick up your bike and you had to carry it home because you broke it. And that's how we learned, right? We survived. We learned. We learned how to climb trees. We learned how to play in the dirt. We got scraped up, but we survived. We're here, and we're better for it. But here's what I see today. I have grandkids. I see how they play soccer. I see how they play baseball. I see how they interact with other kids. It's just not the same as it used to be. They won't let their kids walk to school now, right? Parents are like, no, you're not walking to school. I'm going to drive you. Go to any school, especially the elementaries and junior high schools. There's cars lined up for the first 30, 45 minutes while school's getting ready to start because every parent's got to drive their kid to school and drop their kid off at the door instead of letting them walk. They need to walk. They need the exercise. And they walk with their friends, and then they have social time with their friends and not with their iPads. That's all I'm saying. All right. So here's the other thing that's really, it's disappointing, I guess, is that kids don't even really play contact sports anymore. We used to play contact sports. We used to knock each other on the ground, and like I said, you learn from it. Kids today don't even get to experience disappointment. They don't get disappointed if they lose a game. I know with my grandkids, they don't even keep score. They just go out there and play. And they're little, I get it. But there also comes a point in time where everybody just gets a participation award. Oh, you showed up and you played. We're so proud of you. Here's a ribbon. Okay. When I go to work, I don't just get a ribbon for showing up. I don't just get a paycheck for showing up. I have to earn it. You have to win. All right. No more participation trophies. All right. And it seems like nowadays, roll into an emergency room just for the fun of it. Just go stop by sometime and walk in and see what's happening in there. And you're going to find out that every kid that scrapes his knee gets a trip to urgent care. Every kid with a sniffly nose gets a trip to urgent care. And oh my gosh, if your kid has a problem, they can't figure it out on their own. Parents have to swoop in and take care of the problem. And you've probably seen this, right? Two kids are having a problem. The parents want to get in there and fix the problem. While the parents are trying to fix the problem, the parents get into an argument. Now the parents can't stand each other. And you look over to the side, and where are the two kids? They're back playing again, right? So parents, just let it happen. They will figure it out. This is part of growing up. You had to do it. I hope you had to do it. Let your kids do it. Let them learn. All right. So let me keep moving here because I quickly can go down rabbit trails. So the research backs up what common sense should tell us. All right? We did a little research on this. And overprotective parenting is creating kids with, get this, higher anxiety, lower self-esteem, and low or poor problem-solving skills. Look it up. I always encourage you to do your own research. Overprotecting parenting. You're creating kids, or you're teaching your kids to have higher anxiety, lower self-esteem, and poor problem-solving skills. When you constantly solve your child's problems for them, you're just telling them you're not capable of handling this yourself. So I'll take care of it for you, right? Think about what that does to a kid's confidence. Think about yourself as an adult. You go to work and your boss says, I had a project, but I'm not going to let you do it. I'm going to do the project because, I don't know if you're capable of handling this yourself. How are you going to feel? Right. So let them figure these things out. They have to. They grow up believing that they can't handle these challenges. They become dependent on others to fix their problems. And when they finally get out in the real world and they're going to college or they get their first job or their first relationship, they fall apart at the first sign of adversity. I'm sorry. At the first sign of adversity, these kids they break down, right? They just start crying. I see it all the time. Kids, no, you can't do that. They start crying. Why are you crying? You're not hurt. Why are you crying? Because you were told no? My God, what's wrong? All right, so here's what really gets me. We're so afraid of our kids experiencing any kind of discomfort or failure that we're robbing them of the opportunity to build resilience. That's how you build resilience. You have to fail. That's how you learn. You have to be uncomfortable. That's how you learn. That's how you get better. All right, you know how you build mental toughness? Yeah, by facing challenges and overcoming them, not by having somebody else clear the path for you for your whole life. You have to figure things out yourself. We got to give our kids a little room, I think. Give them a little bit of room and let them grow. Now, I'm not advocating for neglecting your kids, right, or being a negligent parent. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm not saying we should just throw our kids out to the wolves, but there's a difference between being supportive and being overprotective. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do as a parent is to step back and let your kids figure it out. And if you don't believe me, do your research, okay? I've researched this. This is information that I've found, okay? All right. So now we have this other issue that I'm noticing, and I worked at a school district for a while, and I've worked in the court systems. Wow, it's everywhere. It's everywhere anymore. And this is what I'm going to call the allergy and label explosion, okay? So let's tackle something that might ruffle some feathers, right? I'm sure some of you are going to be like, well, that's not fair, or you don't understand. Listen, I'm not taking a side here. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm not saying that your child does or does not have these things, allergies or diagnoses. I'm just saying it seems like we're really quick to jump to put a label on people. I mean, really. When I was a kid, maybe one kid in our entire school maybe had a peanut allergy. I wouldn't have even known about it. I really wouldn't have known. Nobody would have known if a kid had a peanut allergy because it just wasn't a thing. Now there's allergies to everything, peanuts and gluten, and I don't know. I can't eat meat and I can't drink milk. I'm lactose intolerant, and we didn't really experience that. Now, this goes back, if you follow my podcast, I do a podcast on nutrition. This does go back to you eat the right foods, you're going to be a lot healthier. But today it seems like, kids are walking around with EpiPens. Birthday parties come with a list of foods now, right? Please don't bring this. My kid is allergic to. It's either my child has to have gluten-free or dairy-free or some sort of free diet, okay? And then we have this other issue that really is, I don't understand, and maybe somebody out there has a lot more information than I do, but I just don't know. It's these acronyms. I just noticed that it seems like a lot of people these days, and especially our young people, are labeled with ADD, ADHD, ASD, OCD. It's like some sort of alphabet soup. Every kid seems to be on some sort of a spectrum somewhere. Now, before you start sending me angry emails or posting, mean things, let me be clear. I'm not saying that these things don't exist. I'm not dismissing the children who genuinely need help. What I'm questioning is whether we've swung too far in the other direction, where we're just quick to label people. It's just easy that way, right? We just label them and then we've got it handled. Okay? I don't like that. I think it's a bad thing. Research suggests that several things are happening here. First, we're definitely more aware of these conditions than we used to be. Understood. We now have better diagnostic tools, more training for the doctors, more information is available for parents, and that's good. Kids who need help should get it. Absolutely. I advocate for that. But there's also evidence that we might be overdoing it. Social media is playing a huge role here. Now, kids are self-diagnosing based on TikTok videos, right? Research this. It's a real thing. I know adults that spend hours online looking at, what is that, med.com or whatever it is. They're looking up medical things and they're self-diagnosing and they're trying to outsmart their doctors, which is probably not that hard to do, but they're trying to outsmart their doctors on diagnosis. So they're walking into the pediatrician's office saying, my kid's got this, I already know it, and I'm going to give you a whole list, a whole plethora of symptoms. And then the doctor goes, yeah, you're right. Okay, fine, your kid's got, and we'll slap an acronym on his name. And back in the day, it was cool to have an acronym like PhD or have doctor or MD or, things like that. But now, that's not as important. It's kind of more cool to have, I'm OCD, ADHD. And people understand that and respect that and will treat you differently. Kinder, maybe. I don't know. As for allergies, all right. The picture's complicated. Yeah, there's more allergies now maybe than there were 30 years ago. I don't know. But it's not just because we're labeling. There are real environmental factors at play. I get that. The hygiene hypothesis suggests that our super clean, sanitized world isn't giving kids' immune systems enough practice, right? Now we're freaked out. We went through this COVID thing. And now, kids are wearing masks. Today in 2025, in September of 2025, it's September that I'm doing this, people are still wearing masks. Some people wear masks in their cars with their windows rolled up. I suppose they walk around with seat belts on at the grocery store too, just in case. So when we get overly sensitive to these things, this is kind of what happens, right? We're getting overly sensitive and we're making our kids over-sanitize. I mean, come on, when I was a kid, we used to play in the dirt and then we'd go eat a sandwich with our dirty hands. And yeah, we got germs, but that's how we build immune systems. Do the research, right? I mean, look, are people and are our immune systems overreacting to harmless things like peanuts and pollen? Right? Go look it up. How do we treat a peanut allergy? By giving the person peanuts. Right? They dose them, small dose, small dose, small dose, a little more, a little more, a little more, and now I can eat peanuts. Okay. Doesn't always work. That's one thing that I did find. Okay. We're using more antibiotics. We're introducing foods later in life and spending less time outdoors. So we're exposed to different pollutants now. So all this can mess with our immune system development. But that was a key thing, right? I notice this with young kids. Young kids, I've heard parents say, no, my child doesn't like broccoli. My child likes mac and cheese. Okay, every kid likes mac and cheese. I like mac and cheese. But we need to eat broccoli, right? We need to eat healthy foods. And when you allow your child to eat mac and cheese or chicken McNuggets for the first 10, 12 years of their lives because you don't want to fight with them about eating actual food, we could be causing some problems in their early development with their immune systems. And it leads to obesity. That is clearly a thing that happens. So, I don't know. I think we have to be careful. Labels can become crutches, right? So when we tell a child that they have ADHD, do we help them learn coping strategies, or do we just give them an excuse not to pay attention? And when they do get in trouble, they go, oh, I have ADHD. It's not my fault. When we accommodate every food sensitivity, are we helping them navigate the world, or are we making them believe that they're just fragile, little fragile snowflakes? And they have to be careful, because if they eat the wrong food, or if they pick up something dirty, something bad could happen to them. Okay, we can't keep doing this to our children. We can't keep doing this. We're going to have a society of snowflakes, and when the sun comes out, everybody's going to melt. You know what I'm saying? All right. We don't want people to be fragile. So I really do worry about it. I mean, I guess hot takes or opinions. All right, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep away from having a rough opinion, but here's one. I know some of you aren't going to like it, but I really think we're raising a generation of soft kids. We really are. We've got kids that can't remember a phone number, but they can navigate 50 different apps and play different games, but they don't know what their phone number is to call home. First of all, you probably don't even have a home phone anymore. Kids who need a safe space when they hear an opinion they don't like, right? You hurt my feelings, and now I have to go find a safe place. Huh? Okay, kids who've never experienced real physical discomfort, they've never had to push through things. They've never had to get tough. They've never had to learn that a little pain, it's not worth crying over. When another kid pushes you down, you don't just lay there and cry. If you would have done that 500 years ago, they would have left you there and you would have been eaten by the lions. That's just the way it is, right? It was survival of the fittest. We have nobody fit anymore. We're not raising fit. For some reason, we're raising soft. We've medicalized normal childhood experiences. You're shy. My child's shy. Then they have social anxiety. If your child's energetic, oh, your child has ADHD. Oh, they don't like certain foods? Oh, that's okay. Sensitivities? Understood, right? Can't focus on boring tasks? They're going to need accommodations. Maybe, just maybe, some of these kids just need to go outside. Go get dirty. Skin up your knees. They'll learn that they're tougher than they think they are. They'll learn that they're tougher than their parents think they are. Now, I'm not saying we should go back to the old walk it off, well, maybe, mentality for everything, but come on. Let's not overcorrect. Maybe we're overcorrecting. Maybe in our effort to protect and understand our children, maybe we've forgotten that struggle builds character, that overcoming challenges builds confidence, and that a little discomfort never really killed anyone. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up because I'm just rambling now. So, look, I don't have all the answers. I don't. Parenting is hard. I mean, it's gotten more complicated in our world now because now they have screens. They have social media. They have endless information right at their fingertips instantly. That's not something we had. I'm old school. Maybe I'm a dinosaur here. Maybe I need to get up with the times. Maybe I'm just missing out. But I can't shake the feeling that we're doing our kids a disservice by trying to make their lives too easy, too safe, or too comfortable, right? The world is messy. It's challenging. Sometimes it's really unfair. I mean, shouldn't we be preparing them for that, for reality instead of shielding from it? We shield them from reality. We're really doing them a disservice. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? This is about you now. Are we raising resilient kids ready for the real world? Or are we creating a generation that can't handle any type of adversity? I don't know. But it's time to close. I got to shut this down. So keep your minds curious and always fact check information, especially before spreading it across the internet. Don't just jump on the bandwagon. Fact check, and then you can repost it, okay? I really can't stress that enough. Fact check. Be kind to one another. It makes for a better day and a calmer life. And until next time, this has been Joe's Hot Takes 25. Keep questioning everything, and I will see you on the next episode.